one of the sweetest things just happened. And I'm like so overwhelmed. My nephew, his baby, he said, "I love you, Auntie," for the first time. "I love you, Auntie." It was so cute and it was so sweet and it was so wholesome. And now I understand why people have kids, or like literally say those type of things where they're like, "Oh, my, I don't know, they're little." I had a day today full of the little ones. Oh my goodness, full of this little one at that. But today I got the opportunity to go pick up my godson from school, and I tried to, whenever he asks for me, to be there, because I feel like most of the time, like, or at some point they'll stop asking. Like at some point kids stop feeling so comfortable in their wholesomeness and in their sweetness that they get hardened by life and they stop doing it. Like I remember the day specifically that I told my mom, like, "Hey, I don't need you to sing like to me at sleep at night. Like, I don't need you to sing." She used to sing me "Twinkle Twinkle Little Stars" and all those things, like when I was, I think I remember the exact moment. And so it's like, I hope he never loses that, but he still is very, very like much a little kid with me, and I like that. And I didn't live here for a long time, so now that he's 6, I really get a chance to like be in his life and like make up for the years that I didn't get to have with him. And so today, one of the this, I guess this what this video will be about, because it's gonna be about snitching. Y'all snitches. So I went and picked him up from school, and we got home, and he told me, "There's this boy at my school named," and he told me the boy's name. I've since told his mother, but he tells me the boy's name, and he goes, he was really mean to me. He pushed me. And I said, "When was this?" Because he had an incident before where the boy called him the N-word, and where the boy also smacked him on the butt and said some derogatory comments as well. And just the racial remark, like, to a 6-year-old. And I guess the young boy is in several grades higher than him, so I don't know what age that would make you. But today, I guess the boy done pushed him and then called him a crybaby and told him not to be a snitch. And for some reason, snitching is a huge thing at this school. They are worried about being snitches. And I was like, what is being a snitch? What is that? Like, I don't, like, what are you, like, as a kid? Because I'm like, what are y'all talking about? So I had, he said, "Well, you just don't tell. You just don't tell." And I said, "Okay, so that would be called a tattletale. And that's going and telling people about something that's not affecting you whatsoever." Like, so say some kids are like over there, I don't know, lighting leaves on fire with the magnifying glass, and they not bothering you, they're not hurting each other, they're not doing nothing, they're just doing something you don't like. Don't be a Karen, because that's being a tattletale. Like, that have nothing to do with you. It wasn't hurting nobody, and then you just going and telling. And then I'm like, snitching is when you commit a crime or an offense with another person or people, and then tell on them in order to save yourself. Snitching is not being a victim and then letting people victimize you and then not saying anything. Because what we do is a thing called witness protection. So if you are a victim or a witness to a very serious crime, and you're gonna tell, we will protect you like your whole life. So like the way that I explained it to him was, look, if you're an old lady, like say you an old lady walking down the street, you got your little buggy, because we got some in our neighborhood. I'm like, you know the little buggies they have, and you know how they have their purse on their thing and they're walking. And I said, so say that little old lady gets ran up on by, you know, a car pulls up and she gets ran up on by somebody and they snatch her bag. Is she just not supposed to like tell anybody? And I said, but if you are a driver of a getaway car and your passenger hops out and grabs a lady's bag and you're like, yeah, get her bag. And then you guys get pulled over and caught and you're like, no, he just did this thing. We did, and I'll tell on him and I'll get a lesser charge. That's called snitching, because you're supposed to, if you're going to commit crimes, I don't know what they have, like, what do they call morals and what, underlying rules to being a criminal are, but I would assume that most of them say if you commit a crime, you do the time. You don't tell on people because you don't get a lesser sentence because you did the crime too. So just take the sentence that you're gonna get. I don't really know, but I do know we say if you do the crime, you do the time. So I thought that's why you don't snitch, because you shouldn't try to get a lesser amount of time when you've done bad by telling on somebody that you agreed to do bad with, because that's like averting your punishment and giving them more of a punishment so that life can be easier on you when you decided to do bad. Like, and so I'm like, you being a victim, you have to tell, because what I told him was like, you know how they tell us like the serial killer, like Jeffrey Dahmer, and I couldn't really like go into detail about this with him because he's so young and that would probably traumatize the hell out of him. But like, you know how we tell people that is like the Jeffrey Dahmers and the like mentally, you know, people that kill people later, they started victimizing very young with animals and like, you know, helpless, like things that in which they could inflict pain or terrorize or interact negatively with something that's helpless to the way in which they want to interact. And I'm like, you need to tell somebody. These infractions we need to catch the next Jeffrey Dahmer before he starts snitching. And I'm like, they telling these kids about snitching and they telling them wrong, because we need a couple more people to stand up in this world and be like, no, you definitely, if you are a victim and you've done nothing wrong, you tell everyone who will listen, hey, they're doing bad to me. What? So, and then I ended my day with being told, I love you, auntie. And that was the sweetest thing in the whole entire world. And I will probably cry about that moment. Like, thinking he's so precious. That was so wholesome. He's so cute. He's so cute and so sweet. And that was so wholesome. Because I'm like, okay, sweet dreams. Good night. I love you. And then he said it back. I'm like, oh, you're going to get so big so soon. You're gonna get so big so soon, girl. Oh, squishy girl.